Hi, it's up on Restream.
We're live.
Hey.
Is it my side or is he frozen?
I think he is frozen. Experiencing network issues.
I grew up, so this is my home land, my motherland, so to speak. So without wasting any time, sorry for keeping your time, and we are like 3 minutes past 6 on the clock. So I just want to give you guys some background and why are you here? And I must say that thank you for taking the time to join us to this entrepreneurship series. This is our first entrepreneurship series that we'll be hosting. And I'll introduce myself. My name is Tobekani Lose. I'm a Center Director for Walter Sisulu University Center for Entrepreneurship Rapid Incubator, which is funded by SEDA, Small Enterprise Development Agency, which is the head office based in Pretoria. So one of the centers for entrepreneurship, I think there's about 26 nationally. So we exist for the idea of trying to change the mindset of students to be job creators, to be entrepreneurs, to start businesses based on their skills that they've learned in university or in their classes, or someone that is not necessarily a student, but a youth around our communities. So it's not only for the services that we offer, it's not only for students at Walter Sisulu or who are registered within the university. We also assist entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs within the surrounding community, as we might say. So the entrepreneurship series, ladies and gentlemen, is just to build that awareness. As we know that when I studied as well, my first degree, I was lucky that I studied one of the new courses, which was called entrepreneurship, but I didn't know what is entrepreneurship all about. So now as years passed by, I understood why, and then I was lucky to do entrepreneurship because based on the skills that I was taught in class, I was able to start a business. I started my own business in 2014, which is currently, it grew to, I think we're about 36 employees now. We're turning over close to 2 million per annum. So all those things that we're doing now is something that we also learn from the peers and also from the classes. So basically the center exists for that. So we're not focusing only on one faculty, we also for all students. So without wasting time, I'll pause there for now. So I'll give my colleagues, one of the business coaches that we have in the country that I work with, one of the person that maybe I'll give, go ahead to introduce herself. I don't want to introduce her because I could do so, but I'm joined by two lovely ladies who are very good at what they do, and they love entrepreneurship. And yeah, the first person that I will give a platform to introduce herself is Mrs. Elona Hlachayo. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Dr. T. Very lovely to be hosted in your hometown, as you put it. I guess it's come full circle for you. You are working back at home again now. My name is Ilona Hlachayo. I am an executive and business coach. I have been an entrepreneur since 2010 or 2009. I don't remember anymore. I work with entrepreneurs to help them realize their goals and make their businesses grow. As we all know that the entrepreneurship journey is not always easy. And so as coaches, we help fill in the gaps and stand in the gap on the route to success. I run a practice and there's 6 consultants and we all have different specialties, from helping people grow their careers or grow their businesses. And our theme is helping people grow their legacies. And so as we help entrepreneurs build their businesses, it's with the goal to get them to build lasting and sustainable legacies. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Just before I give to one of the panelist member, colleagues, it's very important that we understood that within the entrepreneurship space, it's very important that you're being taught by someone who actually practices entrepreneurship, because as the center, we believe in mostly practicality, not theory. So people that are being taught or being, encouraged to start entrepreneurship are being helped by those people who have seen, who have, went through the obstacles, because they understand the journey better than those perhaps that only have theory. It's good to have theory, but it's also much more important to have practicality. So I'll give to our next panelist, a member, to introduce herself. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. T. Good evening, everyone. Hello, Ilona. Once again, my name is Mahalia Mlema. I am an executive coach. I'm one of the consultants at Bizpreneur. I work closely with Ilona. And I specialize in working with entrepreneurs too, more specifically on mental health and resilience. So it's very important for us to be mindful of the entrepreneur's mental health and how they can be able to bounce back from any adversity they may experience, because it's always important to not only focus on aspects such as starting being an entrepreneur, but where are you in terms of your mental health? Where are you in terms of your resilience? Because it's a very daunting journey, but there's always help. So we are here to provide all the information. So it's very important that you ask all questions. And yeah, thank you for the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to the talk.
Brilliant. I love that. You touch about something that is very important, which is the mental, health of the entrepreneur. We know that the mind itself is like a muscle, so it needs to be trained. It needs to be encouraged. It needs to be, inspired in many ways. Right. So, colleagues, without wasting your time, I know that some of you are coming from your daily activities and your daily routine. So this is, as I indicated, that with this month, we're going to have 4 series. So the first one that we're focusing, actually, my panelists, they know much more about psychology. They've done a lot of trainings in that field. So how we're going to structure this is we're going to have actually a conversation. So it's not only about us, we're going to tell you, feed you information like normally happens in the lecture halls or rooms. So what you're going to do is I'm going to ask some of the questions first, 1 or 2 questions, my panelists. And then from there, I will stop. And then we're going to take some of your questions on Facebook, welcome, then that you might have. And then we'll try to address those. And also those who are tuning live on YouTube, feel free to ask questions. We're going to try and tackle your question. Basically, we're having this, we call it a happy hour for entrepreneurs, where we share ideas with you guys. How did you manage to be successful as you see us here? And also, how can you overcome some of the challenges? And the most important thing is to also try to understand or to build confidence and resilience as an entrepreneur. So that's the theme of the day. So without wasting any time, I'll ask one of the first 2 questions. Colleagues, allow me, and then after I'll ask one, you, Mahalia, and then I'll ask our upcoming doctor, Dr. Tlachai. So I have to put pressure on her because she's doing a PhD. So I want her to finish as soon as possible. So I'm sure she will finish. She's a hard worker. So I'll call you Doc now, just to put pressure on you. So Dr. Shagayo, one question that I will have for you is that how can an entrepreneur help themselves to be more resilient, or, especially during this time of COVID?
Okay. Yeah, I like your disclaimer. I'm Doc on the way, not yet. Yes. Just as a disclaimer. So to speak to your question, when we talk about resilience, we are talking about an individual's ability to bounce back when faced with adversity or difficult situations. So perhaps, as you mentioned, COVID-19 and the pandemic and the lockdowns being one of those difficulties, I think it's important to maybe have an image to it. So when I like to speak about resilience, I like to speak about, if you think about a spring or an elastic band, when you stretch it and it goes back to its original form, that is speaking to its resilience. And so as an entrepreneur, if you were very successful before lockdown and conditions were favorable for your business, when we speak to how can you build resilience, it's how can you adapt to how things are now and still be as successful as you were, or even thrive better. And resilience for me is something that is best developed before you reach the difficult situation. It is possible to develop it once you're in the difficult situation, but I always recommend to entrepreneurs to prepare in advance for that things will not always go your way. So, and for me, that would start with what are your daily habits in terms of developing yourself? So if your business was baking and you had a sure market and they came to you every day, but then you decided to say, it's now locked down, I can't travel to people or people can't travel to me. What then happens? Have you taught yourself to change how you approach things? Or are you going to be stuck and stop operations until the day that lockdown is completely over and you can start again? We don't always have that luxury. So in building yourself day to day, think about how do I respond to change? How do I respond in situations where I'm not in total control? So you're in control of how you run your business and how you offer it, but you're not in control of the environment in which you offer it to. So start to build personal strategies that help you function in change and in unpredictable situations. We're speaking of entrepreneurs, you're supposed to be risk takers and so on, but you know, in practice, it's not always the case. So look at your daily habits and how do they help you cope when things change, when things don't go according to plan.
I like that, Doc, because I normally talk to my peers and we share ideas that sometimes I myself, I'll speak for me, and I must make this actually colleagues and our viewers that we say what we say because we have traveled that journey. We have seen it because I myself, when I started as well, I don't really worry much about the results. I worry much about what I can do today. As you indicated, that's a daily habit. So whatever you do every day, it will show up later. So if you consume, you can even take back to everything that you do actually, not only in business. So if you consume a lot of junk food, let's be clear about it, it will show up later in the future. So if you consume healthy or you do, you run every day, you gym, that's also going to show up in the future. And I must say, though, that one of the resilient things that an entrepreneur must say or must do is to try and do something that sometimes you feel like it sucks. It's something that you don't enjoy. Because as we know that it's not easy to leave that steak, that you want to consume. So everything as well, when you wake up in the morning as well, it's not easy to go and gym. But we know that what gym does to us. So it's those things that I think to be more practically to our viewers, I say that the daily habits, and I like the example of elastic band, because even if you pull it, it's going to go back to what it is. So no one can break you if you believe on what you believe in, and then you feel like you can achieve it. Not even the noise and pollution around you should affect your vision. So you should be clear and focused and be determined to what you do. I think that, Doc. I don't know, before I take I ask one question to my area to have any one question from Facebook or YouTube. Colleagues, I would encourage you, Abu Basemakaya, sorry, Mahila, I told you that this is my motherland, so from time to time, I will switch to Xhosa. So colleagues, as we are busy with entrepreneurship series, we abantu that are starting a business to prepare mentally, physically, and how to be more resilient, during this time of COVID. So if nine question emakhaya ungabhala Facebook comments question onayo ufuna usibuza sona sizama ukuphendula, or our YouTube channel ungabhala naphaya questions. So in the meantime, without wasting any time, Mahela, tell us more about where can one go for support in terms of adversities.
So it's important that entrepreneurs entrepreneurship does seem as your loan, especially when you're starting, and there is, you know, a lack of resources.
The network is a bit.
And if you maybe come from a
Sorry, Mahalia, we lost
town, you don't know where to start. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Okay, let's hope it sticks together. Okay, so I was just saying that it's important that entrepreneurs are just aware that in the journey of entrepreneurship, they're not alone, even though sometimes they may feel that they are alone. You know, it's always important to just be aware of what resources you may have at your disposal. And then that alone just able to help you to start whatever business that you want to start. And sometimes, yes, it's difficult, but you mentioned that you guys work with Dr. T, that you work with CEDA. There are a lot of agencies such as CEDA, such as the National Youth Development, that are out there to help entrepreneurs. You know, there is the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller to help and give information or guidance into being able to just walk that journey with entrepreneurs. So it's important. And we always say that research is important, you know, and you might not only just go to the agencies themselves, but looking at your community, who has a business, you know, that you can be able to speak to and ask for information. How did they start? Even if it's the manager there, what information do they see on the day-to-day? What operations do they see on the day-to-day that they're exposed to, that they can assist the entrepreneur in starting the business, you know? So it's very important for them to just do research and not see, for example, if they want to start a nursery and perhaps they say that there's already a space, or there's someone who is just doing that. Don't ever feel threatened by someone who's already started, but rather take that as an opportunity to go and find out as to how can I get help, what help information can I get from that. You know, we always say don't be afraid of your competitors, but rather go and support them. And that alone just gives us that space of working together and networking. So they can use such strategies to be able to just empower themselves in starting their businesses.
Brilliant. I like that you mentioned, a lot of some agencies that are assisting entrepreneurs, like CEDA in Gauteng as well. And one of the things that I think I will take out from your statement is that it's good that you have a mentor. You know, I myself didn't really have a mentor face to face, but I always call my mentors as individuals that I've never met. For instance, there's a guy that I follow on social media that I think I learn a lot from him, David Goggins and Eric Thomas. Those are motivational speakers, but I call them my mentors because every day I actually learn and try to you know, get to one thing that they do that put them where they are. Because especially now, the world is it's a global village now. We all have, most of us have internet access. So I can tell you controversial that maybe some people, they might not even attend school, but they can be smarter than people who attend school based on self-learning and using YouTube. You know.
Correct. The network is not on our side today.
Yes, I think we've lost him. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so perhaps
maybe
we had lost you, Doc. I just wanted to add one point of where people can go. I think there's times when the agencies are not accessible and not available. It's important that entrepreneurs build a support system in their community and in their areas. So look in your family, look in your friend circle, look at other entrepreneurs. And sometimes it only takes you knowing that you're not alone, you're not the only entrepreneur going through this, and you feel a bit more motivated. So don't discount the people around you as a support base. And also look around and look further. Like he said, some of the people that you will access, you will never meet, but follow the people that will motivate you and grow you in times of adversity.
Wow, brilliant, Doc. And then you can hear me now, right?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. So thanks, colleague. So do we have any question now? No, not yet. So I don't know if guys are scared to ask us questions. Even if you're not, an entrepreneur, maybe an aspiring one, you have your 9 to 5, but you feel like, because one thing that I would say, colleagues, that we it's not easy to start. That I must say. So I always put this analogy that I myself, I'm still working actually, from 8 to 4, I have my 9 to 5. And then from 5 to 9:30, starting from 2010. That's where I was never been a full-time student. So I started part-time from first year up to my PhD. So because I believe that, the only thing that I have is time. So, and we all have 24 hours, and how we use that is upon you. So if you choose to spend it with time, then that's up to you. If you choose to do something productive that's going to shape your future, that's still up to you. But one thing I would tell our viewers that you don't grow in good times. That's fact. You will never grow in good times. The only time that you grow is during the crisis time. As I was even chatting with Professor Chooks the earlier day, that we say crisis is the incubator for creativity. So whatever you call a thing is what it is. So if you say it's a crisis, it's a crisis. But if you say it's an opportunity that you can do something for yourself, it's what it is. It's an opportunity. So I'll stop there for now. Before we go to, I ask you guys, the third question. I prepared you guys 5 questions. Then I don't know if you want to share something before I go to the third question.
Yeah, maybe to give it a bit of context, why would we be interested in students being entrepreneurial? I think it's pretty obvious that the unemployment rate is not improving. And it would be foolish for us as academics or as citizens to say there's only one route, that you go to study and then you'll get a job afterwards. I think it's important for students to be aware of opportunities out there, to be able to be entrepreneurial even before you graduate. There are some students who have not needed to ask for NSFAS because their entrepreneurial idea took them through varsity. So it's really important to start to think out the box, because what worked 20 years ago, unfortunately, is not going to work in 2021. So it's important to start to think, how else can I supplement and support myself? We've been watching the news. There's quite a lot of pushback on students, but also there's opportunity if you are entrepreneurial and you start to figure out, what can I do with my creative ideas besides leaving them as hobbies? So I think I just want to say, it's very important for students to consider entrepreneurship as not something that you do when you've left varsity. You can do both.
Brilliant. On that note, Doc, our next session is going to talk specifically on finding opportunities in the times of crisis. So I'm just giving some clues to our viewers there that they need to tune in to our next session. So anyone can answer this one. I just want to ask you guys, how useful are the strategies, practical techniques such as mindfulness or business coaching to help to build resilience?
Okay, I will answer that. I think sometimes we need to be aware that having a business coach helps navigate where you are currently, and you might not be able to see the opportunities that you have because you might be clouded with a lot of stresses that's happening around you. So being able just to reach out to someone who's an expert, who will be able to provide you with different opportunities or help you reflect or mirror what you already have, and being able to put it into steps, attainable goals. It's important for entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs to be able to reach out. I will give a typical example. You spoke about mentorship, right? Get yourself a mentor. Can I just tell a story that I actually approached Ilona on LinkedIn. I invited her. A friend of mine said, "Invite this lady. She will, she's amazing." And we spoke and we connected, and here we are a year later. And I never thought that opportunity that I took in terms of reaching out just to connect on LinkedIn would put me where I'm at. So the point is that it's important out to, business coaches, executive coaches who can be able to help them. And also just look at, or rather research on different types of mindfulness, mindful techniques, because, I spoke about earlier that you need to be mindful. You need to be aware where you are as an entrepreneur. You need to understand your skills, what you have at your disposal. And sometimes you might not have the confidence to be able to start. It might be scary to get into the journey. So having someone to be able to help you in the process provides you with that confidence, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a business coach, helps you just to tune in with your mindful space and where you want to go in the future, especially around your business.
Brilliant. Sister Ilona, do you want to add something there?
Yes. Thank you, Mahalia, for that reminder.
Absolutely. I didn't know that, by the way.
Yeah. By the time Mahalia and I met, we had worked together for almost a year. So I guess she's reminding me that I'm consistent in saying, approach the people, even if you haven't met them, approach them and see how people can support you and help you on your growth journey. But on that note, it's important to know yourself and where you're going and what you need. There's nothing as frustrating as a mentor being approached and the person says, I need help, but I'm not sure what I need. So it's important to be clear. Speaking to what Mahalia said about being mindful. When you are mindful, you're able to understand what's happening around you, understand your role in what's happening around you. Did we lose our facilitator? Okay. So understand what's happening around you, understand your role in what's happening around you. So say, for example, if something fails, if your business fails, what's your relationship with failure? Are you going to say, this thing doesn't work, I'm never going to try entrepreneurship again? Or are you going to say, what can I learn from this situation? And that's literally being mindful and being involved and fully engaged in what's happening. Sometimes that failure is an indication that you need to tweak one or two things and then you're back on your road to success. So if you're not mindful and in touch with what's happening, what happened? Why didn't I get that pitch? Did they reject me as an individual? Or was there something I need to work on in what I pitched? And so as an entrepreneur, it's very, very important in your mindfulness to add action, to say, okay, so today didn't go well, but what did I learn from today? And so every day you're learning and you're growing and saying, despite what I went through today as I tried to grow my business, there is still a lesson. There's always a lesson in every disappointment. And I think that's where mindfulness really helps us to remind us and recalibrate and say, okay, not the whole thing was a failure, but I can grow in this way or the other. That was half of the question, right?
It was. Seems like we've lost our facilitator. The network is not on our side, but I guess we will interview each other in the process.
Yes. So I've spoken on one practical way to be mindful. I'm not sure if you want to add on to that in terms of what are the simple things that everybody can do at home in terms of building their awareness and mindfulness in the entrepreneurial journey.
When you were talking about mindfulness and looking at the opportunities, instead of like something adversity rather, and seeing it as failure, but taking it as an opportunity. I had a coaching client who had such a difficulty he took a risk and it didn't obviously reward him. And that left him shattered and started to question himself as the entrepreneur. and thinking that maybe he should. So such things happen, but it's important. Okay. Can you hear me properly?
Okay. Yes, I think that was
okay. Yes. So that story just reminded me of that specific client I had. But at the end of the session, it actually engaged in mindful activity. Dr. T spoke about some of the mindful approaches people can use, such as exercising. And I always say that, you don't have to literally go to the gym, but being able to just, even if you do cardio for 5 to 10 minutes, that's important. It always just releases the blood flow and makes it be able to just give you that energy. So it's important for people just to be able to even take a walk outside, especially around this time of the year. Welcome back, Dr. T. We would just...
Hello, guys. Remember, I left Joburg to come in the Eastern Cape to try and develop infrastructure. So you must bear with me. I'm in the right areas here, okay? But anyway, I'm back. Thank you, guys. You did very well. And
okay.
Yeah, I think...
Sorry, Dr. T.
Yeah.
Maybe before we move on from this, is it a request to maybe go into detail on the mindfulness techniques? So, Mahalia, did you have something to add?
Oh, no, I was just reiterating what Dr. T was just saying about exercising and being mindful on the eating habits that we have. And I always say that it's not about going on a diet, but really the portion of food that you intake. You cannot, for example, if you buy a whole meal at McDonald's or something, you want to eat the whole entire chips and and the burger and the cold drink. Space yourself in how you would intake the food, and just being able to keep a journal. So such little things that we're aware of that we do not, we're not aware on how they play such a huge role in our health. So this is continuous in our mindful space and being. Yes.
Okay. And then maybe one more thing, it's important to be honest with yourself before we speak of anything else. Like self-awareness and being real with yourself is one of the biggest foundations of any mental health or emotional health development, because if you're going to lie to yourself about what you're capable of and what you're not capable of, then you're setting yourself up for actual failure. So it's important to start off by being honest with yourself. Where are you at? What resources are available? And then it becomes clear to say, okay, perhaps even that disappointment, you are able to take it better because you understand that perhaps it didn't go well and I need to upskill. But if you're not honest with yourself and vulnerable with yourself to say there are things I need to learn, then you're not going to be on a learning journey. Or if you are honest with yourself that I will meet rejection, and rejection is not going to break me because why I'm doing this is very important. I want to build something and it's not for one day. So it's important to start off with being real to yourself and don't deny the emotions that come with difficult situations. If it's a difficult day, it's a hard day. Don't lie to yourself and say it's going to be okay, because that means you're not dealing with it. And tomorrow you're not at your best because you have these emotions that you just didn't work through. So it's important to prioritize that. If you're going to lie to the world, don't ever lie to yourself, because you're not going to grow.
So important.
I like that, because
but don't lie at all. But yeah.
I like that, because we make this assumption that if you lie, you can lie all you want. When you are put, maybe there's a test in front of you, that's why we'll see who the real person that you are. And it's good that our viewers understand information. You might have information and knowledge and understanding, but there's a key word that you should remind yourself. It's called wisdom. Wisdom is the application of what you know and information. You take that knowledge and understanding, you apply it. There are so many guys that I know, smarter than I am, but I only beat them in one thing. I apply what they know. They can tell me what to do, but they don't do that. Then I go and do what they are telling me to do. And trust me, people always think I don't like school. I don't like gymming. But guess what? It's about what Ma'am Olona said, that it's about your daily routine that will put you to wherever you want. So all the things that I do, you don't necessarily have to like it. I always hear these motivational speakers talk about passion. Sometimes I look around and then I think, what is my passion? And then I'm still struggling because I haven't maybe arrived there yet. But one thing that I know for sure that I'll do things that I don't like to do, things that sucks, but I know them. They will put me to a position tomorrow that when I look back, I'm like, wow, I'm so proud of myself. So those are the practicality things that you need to do. Whatever that you are being told by parents, by peers, by mentors, it's useless. That's why I'm a big fan of someone who's doing something. I don't respect you. So that goes back. We have one question on Facebook that I think is directed to me. That is Miss Elona and Mohale your role models? They're asking me. Listen, I think yes, they are. Why so? I think they are because I respect them, because what they preach, they do it. So I respect anyone that is doing what that person is preaching it. So to me, a role model, because I listen to you once you are doing what you're saying. So yes, that's first question. The first question, I think they say define entrepreneur, right? Yeah, it's simple. My own definition, an entrepreneur is someone who practices entrepreneurship. Simple like that. So it goes back to what I said, that it's about what to do. It's about wisdom. So an entrepreneur is someone who practices entrepreneurship, regardless of what is it. Because then again, we can go deeper and say that there's a business owner and an entrepreneur. The business owner worries about profit, and then the entrepreneur worries about changing the world. Like the entrepreneur is a visionary. How can we improve? You see, as you can see, there are cars in Mercedes-Benz. They release every car every year. That's entrepreneurship because they innovate. A businessman will start with this idea. They will say, no, it's making us profit. You can't try anything new. That's a businessman. But an entrepreneur is driven by what? By growth, by the impact that they have on people, like Stu's job. They were not worried about profit or money. But guess what? Once you solve societal needs, you get profit in that regard. And then the other question was, how do you know when you have the right idea? That's a good question. The direct answer, I might not know your idea until, there's this thing, no one believes you until you make it. That's facts. We don't know if it's a good idea or not, but we'll only know once you make it. So that's facts. And colleagues, those who join us here, this session is not about, I don't believe in miracles, number one. And then I don't want our followers or people that join here that they do believe in miracles, because you don't get anything in miracles. I believe in hardworking, practicality of things, applying things, go and sweat. I run every day because from that daily routine that Ms. Elona said, you get good results. And then, by the way, Ms. Elona, I think I know her through my sister. My sister was like, was huge, but now she inspires me every day because what? She runs almost 8 kilometers every day. So those are things that makes me respect people, and also I will tend to say it's the right idea. We'll never know it's the right idea, but you have to believe. And then don't expect anyone to understand your idea, because it's not my idea. It's your own, God-given talent that you have. If you ask me, I will say no. And most people always give this analogy based on their own opinion, not necessarily on what is facts. So I will encourage you by you doing it or trying to test the market, that's how we'll know it's a good idea. That's the only way. And then lastly, do you want to share something, Doc?
I was going to say the only good idea is the one that is attached with sweat, action, and dedication. That's when it becomes a good idea.
True.
Absolutely.
If it's sitting on the shelf waiting for somebody to tell you it's a good idea, that's not a good idea. So put some action to it and you'll see that it's a good idea.
Yeah. The last question on my side was, is there any development agency that is helping individuals less than 35 years old, right?
Over
35 years and older, or above, sorry. Yeah, there are many. There are many. You can go to SIFA, Small Enterprise Financial Agency, and then the Google as well, National Empowerment Fund. And of course, we mentioned CETA. And also, these agencies like your Mercedes, I'm sure they do help entrepreneurs, and they have each in every sector such things. So yeah. On my side, I only have 2 questions. I don't know, colleagues, you wanna chip in and share something?
I
Okay,
have a
you
question
have
for you,
more
Doctor.
questions?
For
Yeah.
me? Oh, let's go.
I mean, you've been talking and we've been listening to you. I'm inspired. So I wanted to find out what has kept you going all these years. What has inspired you? I know you mentioned that you watch a lot of mentorship individuals online, but before you got into that routine or watching other people, what is keeping you going all these years?
Thank you. I grew up, most people know, most others don't know, without parents. I lost my parents at a young age. So entrepreneurs, there are 2 factors that motivate them. Some people are pushed to something, others are pulled to something. What do I mean by that? Some people tend to do things because they don't have any choice. You are forced to do it. And then others, the choice. You have plenty of choices. I call that they are pulled. Then you decide to do it. For me, to answer you directly, I'm driven by opportunities. So wherever there's opportunities, I chase them. If I see that this degree that I'm doing is gonna make me a better person tomorrow, I pursue it with blood, tears, and sweat. So all these years, and I must say though that what gives me competitive advantage compared to my peers, when you are younger, I don't lose the dog mentality. What do I mean? That I stay hungry. So I always find inspiration whereby I put a target in front of me that I'm not the smartest. I don't speak even good English, you can hear. But one thing about me, I will outwork everyone that is around me. In my class, I think no one has even imagined that within the record time I'll finish my PhD. I was the first to about 209 in class then. So I was the first because of what I have a heart in things. I worry about my daily routine, and it opened doors for me. Even today, I have my 9 to 5. I have my businesses. So that's what keeps me going. I don't lose. As a kid, I dreamed to be a better person every day. So that's why even now I'm always doing what I did last week. So that's what keeps me going. It's growth, it's personal development, and I don't lose that hunger. So even today, next year, I'm applying for professorship. I publish papers. So I don't get to a point, it's not about money, it's not about a house. I've got those things. But the things that now is that I put a target in front of me, I take it, I get happy. It's a feeling. So I'm just chasing a feeling. So that's what keeps me going. I think that was your question. Ms. Elona, do you have a question for me?
Okay, so I was just thinking as you spoke that we live in a society where, like it's linear. If you don't get, people have gone through primary school, high school, and if you don't get over 50%, it's a fail and you're a failure. So when we speak about developing resilience, we have to be breaking those barriers that somebody's gone through 12 years or 13 years of school where they've learned that if I don't make a certain thing, that's called failure. And yet we come to entrepreneurship and we say, if it doesn't go well, it's a learning opportunity. So we are not just talking about something that we will build overnight, but it's something that you literally have to cement into yourself daily. You're undoing 13 years of a system of saying, if I don't get a client as I had planned to, then I'm a failure. The society and the communities that we live in sometimes will even have a nickname for somebody. That's that person who tried entrepreneurship. That's the guy who tried this and it never worked. So people are up against ridicule. People are worried that people will laugh at me if I try this because they know that old man in the community who tried something and it didn't work. And so that was his legacy for his entire life, that he's the one who tried to have a car wash and it didn't work. So we need to be mindful of those things in the community, in the society, and in the system that we live in that can come in the way of you developing resilience. So it is now up to you as the individual to daily tell yourself that even though people say people who come from this area are not successful, I'd rather be the first one. Or what makes me different to others? So you need to be telling yourself things that will help you get to your goals. Yes, people outside of your dream may not see it, but what are you doing every day to ensure that the narrative you have in your mind, the story you tell yourself, is actually building you to be strong, even when things don't go well? So we need to be mindful of that. As a society, we don't have a good relationship with failure. It's almost like when something fails, it's the dead end. It's not, there's no progress after that. And we need to be unlearning that.
Thank you, ma'am, for that. And now it's time for you guys to answer questions. I have one for you, Mahalia. Someone is interested in, I'm very more interested in the mental and physical and psychological enhancement elements. Please unpack it. The mental and psychological enhancement element.
Okay, so specifically, what do they want to know on how to improve on their mental health?
Sorry, yeah, enhancement.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay, because there's a lot of then questions I would have for the person as to where they are right now mentally, what's happening, but for the sake of the question, like I said earlier, it is finding out what, maybe if we can look at what are the challenges the person's experiencing, right? What type of thing, because if the person is requiring improvement or enhancement, there's some challenges that they're experiencing that may be hindering them to be able to progress to their next step, whether it's at work, whether it's at home, whether it's within entrepreneurship. It's important to want to be able to identify those challenges. Ilona spoke about being able to be transparent, being honest with yourself. And that is important to acknowledge that, is this challenge that I'm experiencing, is it mine or is it external? Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is that sometimes we like to be able to say we have challenges when they are external, they're not ours. It's something that's happening either at work, and we want to take it home and we want to internalize that. So it's important to be able to be aware as a person, what challenges you're experiencing. Is this an internal challenge or is it an external challenge? And then from that angle, once you've identified these two factors, it's easier for you to then be able to understand that if, for example, if it's internal, what am I in control of? How can I be able to deal with that? How can I be able to fix that? So for example, what are then the resources do I have at my disposal? Do I have any friends that I can be able to speak to? Do I have maybe a counselor around my area that can be able to help me understand this challenge that I'm experiencing, and how can I get out of it? If it's external, it's important to be aware that if it's someone that's doing something to you, for example, at work, how do you then address that situation in the workspace so that you do not take it home? Because sometimes, someone said to me that, Mahalia, in life, there are people going to compliment you and there are people going to complain. So it's easier from that angle when you are able to understand your external factors. And that way, you'll be able to deal with the challenges that you're experiencing. So just to repeat, I said 1, be able to identify the challenges that you're experiencing. 2, being able to be transparent with yourself by identifying whether is it an internal issue or is it an external issue. And then once you know these 2 factors, it's easier for you to be able to approach or deal with those challenges that you're experiencing in a way that the challenge is then posed to you. Maybe Ilona might add to the answer in a different perspective.
I think you've really said it all. Sometimes the things that keep us up at night are the things we can't even change, even if we had the entire year. So be clear on what is it that what's going on? How much control do I have? Can I change it or can I not? And if not, then why are you losing sleep over it? What can you change and how can you improve your situation? I know it sounds a little bit, but that's the reality.
It's true. Yeah, that's true.
Okay, perfect. And then what's the impact of poor mental and physical health on resilience?
Mahalia, do you want to take this one from, I remember you were speaking about the benefits of the workout. So perhaps we can.
Okay. May you please repeat the question?
The impact, what's the impact of poor mental or physical health on resilience?
Mm-hmm. You know, I always give talks on resilience, and I always say that resilient people always look at opportunities. They don't sit there and be like, why is this happening to me? And this boils down back to the external challenges that you might be experiencing as a person versus the internal challenges you might be experiencing. So when we look at the mental well-being or the mental health of resilience, and the physical aspect of it is that you experience stress, you experience anxiety, and these are the two common mental illness that we don't really talk much about. And I was having a conversation with a friend that, you know, stress is one illness that we say so softly, like, oh, you have stress, or, you know, it's stress, you'll get over it. But the impact stress has on individuals' performance, whether the workspace or at home, it's so severe that it boils down back to your physical space. You lose energy, you lose focus, memory loss. So you experience all these different elements that we don't take seriously. And I always say that stress is it always leads to, you know, high blood or other illnesses, but we always cover it as high blood or diabetes or other chronic illnesses, but we don't understand that it's stress that initially started leading to other factors or illnesses that may impact our physical space, such as also headaches, looking at lack of sleep. Ilona spoke about lack of sleep. So it's important that we are aware that physical, if we're not being able to internalize our issues, it impacts our physical aspects. So it's important that we are aware that stress and anxiety plays a huge role, then translates to our physical spaces of losing energy, of not being able to concentrate, or isolating ourselves from our friends and families. So it plays a huge role in the physical, but yeah.
Thank you. You want to say something, Doug?
Perhaps in the interest of time, I'll add one more point. I think I'm sounding like a broken record, but if you know yourself and how you are in your optimal state, then you will know when stress is now impacting you. So things that you do on a daily basis suddenly become a big issue. If you are an extrovert and you don't have issues with going out to make sales, knock on people's doors, but because of rejection and stress and you haven't dealt with it, suddenly you're terrified of talking to people. You start to see that actually what's happening over here is starting to impact you day to day. It's starting to impact your business, and that obviously impacts your finances, and so it goes. So it's very important to, going back to the mindfulness exercises, what it helps you do is to release that day-to-day stress and not let it just multiply. So you, like Mahalia said, you can get physical illnesses, but you can also get your business, you can sabotage your business by not being in a good state of mind. So it's very important that we take these things seriously.
Correct.
That's good. I think you have touched on my last question, which talks about what critical steps can an entrepreneur take to make their business resilient. So we can add if you want, but I think you did touch based on that. So from my side, that will be all.
Yeah, I think that a resilient individual being the foundation of the business, it's very important that you are of clear and sound mind, because you are leading an entity, and like we like to say, you're growing a legacy. So you got to take it seriously. And if you're not working on yourself, it is going to be very clear in no time that in your business you will start to see cracks, because you cannot lead without enough insight, without developing yourself. So if you're not growing every day, how are you expecting to grow a business? How are you expecting to grow a team and grow a whole legacy? So if that's a takeaway point for me, that it's important to be in touch with yourself and grow every day or every other day, but just never be stuck in one space.
Interesting. And then thank you, colleague, because, I think this is when you check about the response from the respondents, they ask about the mind, how to overcome, how to be resilient. Luckily, I have psychologists here, so they are very good at that and how to strengthen the mind. The only thing I know is myself and how to get away around things that I want to achieve. And it's what I said, basically, because I believe no one knows myself, it's only me and God, of course. But the things that I do, how I train my own mind is to find discomfort. So me finding discomfort is finding things, as I indicated, that I don't like to do, I don't enjoy to do, things that are harder. So, you have to go to war with yourself, whatever that you are facing or whatever that is in front of you. And that's how I deal with a lot of things that I went through and I'm going through. I always find, because I don't like to talk to people. I believe I'm an introvert, but then again, sometimes you feel like you need to share knowledge. Yeah, I think I am, trust me, but it's just that I push myself. That's why I say that I find things that I'm scared to do or I don't like to do, I do them anyway. So that's why people will say that, do you run 10 kilometers really almost every day? I'll say, yeah. I say, you enjoy it? I'm like, no, I don't. Oh, actually, did you study up to your PhD? I say, yeah. Did you enjoy writing? I said, no, I don't. So those things, to me, that's how I find life. So seeking the feeling and trying to be more mental resilient. So that's how I succeed in things. But of course, it's not an easy thing to do, but yeah. And there's one question, last point from my side, that talks about if we know anyone that is, are we financial support, right? So we don't really do financial support. We don't have all the money we wish to have, but we have agencies that they do assist with finances. Of course, within where we are now, we package your business based on their criteria so that you can apply for funding, or you can find an angel, a business investor or an angel investor. So, or bootstrapping. So those are the things, the mechanisms that we try and assist. I will say though, I think most of the times people will cry about money, sometimes about, finding the problem and finding a solution, then money will come because people are not afraid to pay.
That's true.
So, yeah. So colleagues, do you have anything to add? I think we're exactly like our happy hour is about to end. Yeah.
Yes. I think perhaps I've already said my closing remarks. Maybe we can hear from Mahalia. Yeah.
The pressure's on me. No, I think it's important for entrepreneurs not to be hard on themselves. I reiterate again to say in the beginning that it is a lonely journey. I'm an entrepreneur myself. Sometimes I get lost in forgetting that I'm an entrepreneur. And that is because that, like I said, that it's a lonely journey. But we need not to be hard on ourselves. We need to be able to reach out to people that are available. Even if you email people and they don't reply, that's okay. The fact that you already did something, that in itself is an effort. Find different approaches, talk to people, research, that in its own will get you somewhere. And I always find helpful that whenever I'm out with friends, I always just talk about what I do. And you'll never know who
I think we lost her.
Yeah, I think so.
does what, and it's always part of networking. So it's always important to pride yourself in. Yes. Did you lose me?
Yes,
yeah,
we had
bit,
lost
but
you. So
back.
Maybe in a one-liner you can close it.
Okay. Don't be hard on yourself. There we go.
Thank you, colleagues. Yeah, I think I will do the conclusion of the session for today. I thank you all. Ma'am Olana, you're always helping us. And I'm looking forward to the relationship that we're going to build. And also, most importantly, because we're trying to bring all of these services because you're mostly focusing on Joburg, Gauteng side. So I think the Eastern Cape province is way behind. And when I look at things or people, when of course we're affected by a lot of things, politicians, etc. But if not us who comes and work and give our talent to the Eastern Cape, people who will do that. And then if it's not now, when? So I think will try and operate within, my small corner, which is entrepreneurship, to try and give my own personal advice and what I've, experienced over the years. So that's what we do here now. So this is the first series of many. So we're looking forward to you guys, and I'm glad. I think we did hit about 140, viewers. So it's one of the things that at least we contribute to the minds, because people like role models. People like people that they can look up to, because they believe now in order for you to be successful, you must go to politics, you must be intended, etc. No, it's not about that. There's so much that you can do. And then if you think wherever you are or you operate at, it's small, try and sleep with a mosquito, in a room. You will see how impactful that is. So each and every one of us has a role. I don't know if you guys are able to share maybe on social media handles. I'm sure some people, they face a lot of psychological issues that maybe not necessarily entrepreneurs that might have one-on-ones, like a call with you guys. Please do share it, your Facebook page or your Instagram, so that they can DM you guys and get help. So I'll appreciate that. So yeah, thank you. Pleased to meet you as well, Mahalia. It's been a wonderful chat. And yeah, and then so that's all. I'm gonna read one question after you guys have made or have told us your handles and how people can find you, and I'm giving you a platform to market your business, basically.
Okay, so I
Yes.
think we'll type it in the chat on the YouTube as well as the Facebook. But for the psychological requests, Mahalia is best placed for that. I have moved away from psychology and I'm doing coaching now. But yeah, we will type them in the chat and we'll also send it for you to post it on the page tomorrow. Thank you for having us. We look forward to next week.
Thank you. And then, just the last one, how often will it be? Or we'll be discussing these, like, when is our next session? It's on the 14th, right?
Next week at 6 o'clock. Yeah. Next week.
Oh, next
Wednesday,
week, same
6
time,
o'clock.
guys. Please join us. Invite a lot of friends, family, entrepreneurs to join us, and we'll try to address the question as you did. Like our Facebook page, join us, comment on the comments. We'll ask all questions, which is we did tonight. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you, my lovely panelists. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
See you again next week.